Lee. Perfect timing, Lee. I'm actually getting, dare I say, I don't want to get cocky, I don't want to get too comfortable. Remember, comfort is not king, comfort is bad, although we all humans like being comfortable. Comfortability is good, you know, like as in, are you comfy in your bed, are you comfy in your armchair? But I disagree with being comfortable too often in life, especially if you're in pursuit of something. If you are engaged in, stop with the hands, Justin, stop with the hands. If you are engaged in an endeavour, good evening, Lee, let me wave at Lee. Case in point with Lee, or anyone for that matter, who's, I know we've butchered words like journey, you know, chasing goals, pursuing, you know, we're killing these words, we're bastardising and we're killing these words. I think one of the most annihilated words these days is racist. You know, if I say, hey, I like brown shirts, I'm a racist. Do you know what I mean? It's such an, I'm just throwing that out there as an example of how tired we, society, why is that going quite dark? That's all right. No, it's just that screen's going a bit. Mind you, I shouldn't be surprised because I have gone beta. I am in beta on iOS 15. I am a developer in beta. Yeah, it just looks a bit dark to me. Unless I... Hang on YouTube. Ooh, pop. Yeah, that's good. Pop's good. Yeah, that's good. Crush, bubbles, dream, blush. Beam, dream, beam, crush, glow. Good lord, there's all these settings. Oh, I can do like Jocko Willink. Oh my god, I can do black and white. Fair play to YouTube, fair play to the algorithm, fair play to iOS, because this is not available on Android, and trust me, I would have seen it. Although, I'll do it after the show. Comfy is fine, but having room to grow is a trick. Yeah, man, that's a good point, Lee, because it's like, you know, like, Justin goes back to full Croydon mode, like, I was going to leave it normal. Actually, normal's fine. Ah, it's coming back now. Yeah, look, what the first thing I learned in the gym, let's just kill some time. See if other people arrive. Oh, there's someone here on YouTube as well. Good evening, welcome. Episode 370, Wild Wednesday. The being comfortable bit. I mean, let me be really honest about this. I remember. Well, I mean, it's one thing Doug mentioned night before last about well, I'm going to say it, the prostitution of personal training. There's one thing that I don't miss about personal training. There's one thing I don't miss about teaching, and there's one thing I'm very, very grateful for, is that out of my 27-year run, which isn't bad, you know, yeah, there are people out there that are teaching in their 30th year. 27 years, 1990 till 2017. I've been out for 4 years. It was a good run. It was a good run, and of those 27 years, you know, 25 years solid teaching, 2 years getting qualified. Yeah, 25 years of being on it. And I remember my very, very first lesson in the gym from literally a guy working for London YMCA, Great Russell Street, who, believe it or not, was ex-Marine, and he used to live in Ron Hill tracksters, you know, those navy tracksuit bottoms they all wear. We're talking Who Dares Wins SAS style, you know. So this would have been 93, 94. Yeah, that makes sense, because I was 2 years in, so I started in 1990. So yeah, I'm going to say March 93. I think I qualified March 93. And he's called Bob Hope. Seriously, he was called Bob Hope, as in Bob Hope. That was his actual name. And he's one of my first London instructors for the YMCA. This was in the days where it was a 12-week course of actual, there was nothing online, and these courses don't exist anymore. Well, I'm sure a version does, but a hefty amount of learning, even for doctors these days, is online. I might sound old-fashioned, but I disagree with teaching anatomy online. The best anatomy lessons I saw which I was extremely lucky to attend as not a medical student, was at King's. There's a very well, you can Google this chap, Sir Harold Ellis. He might have died now actually, because we're talking a good 10 years ago, but Sir Harold Ellis, he's the most eminent anatomical surgeon teacher, or one of the most eminent. He's been on the BBC and Channel 4 dozens of times, and he was giving anatomy class, you know, Prof, just call him Prof Ellis. So Sir, he's a Sir Harold Ellis, and looks like Yoda, little old man. And he was cutting up cadavers, and you know, obviously we're talking wet prep and dry prep. Wet prep and dry prep. Dry prep, obviously fully embalmed, you make an incision, no blood. Wet prep, as the name suggests, you make an incision, blood and fluids pour out. And this was after I'd qualified, so the only qualifications under my belt, this would have been 93, 94, was my London Central YMCA, which I'd taken 12 weeks to do. I actually only just passed it. I mean, I literally, didn't he have a wing? He will, you're absolutely right, there is a wing after Sir Harold Ellis. So, I mean, we could look him up actually. Sir Ellis, I hope he's not dead, because he was an old man when I knew him. When I say I know him, I met him like 4 times, ever. Sir Harold Ellis, King's anatomy surgeon.
According to Wikipedia, Harold Ellis CBEFRCS is an English retired surgeon.
There is, well, there is.
He was Emeritus Professor of Surgery in the University of London and most recently a Professor in the Department of Anatomy and Human Sciences at the King's College London School of Medicine.
Whenever they say was, I think, oh, is he dead? Because look, here we go. He's born 1926. Oh, he must be dead. He'd be nearly 100, wouldn't he? But that's Harold there. Just here, that's Harold. And it was an absolute honour to meet this man. Oh, no, hey, Lee, there's an article here, meet the 93-year-old superstar of surgery whose career started, Sir Harold Ellis' medical career began in the same month the NHS started. Oh my God, I think he's still going. This is a 2019 article. So I'm grinning because I got to meet this man and see him work. I think he's still with us then. Meet the 93. Oh wow, no, that's Harold. Look, I mean, this is August 2019. So he was 93. Look, look. Let me share this with Lee. Look. There he is. Now, I'll be, you know me, I'm super honest. I had a friend. I'm going to say had, you know, it is past tense. It's not a guy I speak to anymore. That's a long story. Doug knows. I had a friend called Dave, so I'll leave it at, a doctor. I'm literally one of 2 people that can speak about this because there is only a small amount of people that know this. Again, Doug knows this story, and one bloke down here knows this story. I was at the wing named after. It wouldn't surprise me at all when Professor Harold Ellis reflects on the extraordinary advances in healthcare he has witnessed over the course of a 71-year and counting career in medicine. He says his own story perfectly exemplifies how things have changed. Wow, so I think he's still going. I mean, he would be 95 now. Oh my gosh. Let's just Google it. Is Sir Harold Ellis, surgeon, still alive? Wikipedia. Oh God, it says was. Hang on. No, he's alive. He's 95. He's alive. Harold Ellis, 13th of Jan. Oh, he's a Capricorn. He's a Capricorn, isn't it? Yeah. He's a Cap. Well, I'm a Capricorn. I'm on the cusp. Well, I am a Capricorn. I'm 18th of Jan. He's 13th of Jan. Born 13th of Jan. I'm grinning because I honestly look. Again, I've never. Do you know what? The older I get and the more truth I spill, the better it is for my ego, because you know everyone has an ego, whether we admit it or not, and some people have a big ego, some people have a small ego, some people have too much of an ego, some people have no ego. And I I remember when I was teaching other personal trainers, and I went through a good 5 year stage of, I would say, embellishment. That I would embellish my career. I would say, oh, I've got 60 clients and I had 50. Do you know what I mean? So I'd whack on 10 clients that weren't there. I peaked at 72 clients, and I held those 72 clients for probably 2.5, 3 years before I sold the business and moved to Venice Beach. But the point is, there was no need for me halfway through my career to go, oh, I've got 60 clients when I actually had 50, because 50 clients is good. Hell, 20 clients, hell, 5 clients is good if they're permanent. Do you know what I mean? So I went through, I definitely, well, I'm telling you, I did. I went through a period of exaggeration, embellishment. In the late 90s, probably 96 to 99, around there, 3 years of basically, over-egging it. So if someone said, "Oh, Justin, how's your teaching going?" "Oh, I've got a 2 week waiting list." No, I had a 10-day waiting list. So I never had a 2 week waiting list. I had about, at my peak, you'd have to wait 10 days to book in with me at my peak. And that's doing 10 clients per day, 5 a.m, 5 p.m. So very simple day. I'd always give myself a lunch time, and I'd crack out 5 clients in the morning and 5 clients in the evening. I'd start at 7 a.m, be done by 10 p.m. So it's a 15-hour day, allowing myself off a couple of hours for lunch, in the middle of the day. The gym's, as you know, Lee, the gym's dead in the daytime. Your rush is sort of 6 o'clock in the morning till 10, the first 4 hours, or 6 till noon if you like, first 6 hours. Your mums and stuff, your yummy mummies, kids at uni, whatever, or devoted people like yourself. And then of course you've got your dead period, you've got your dead gym from really 12 noon till 3. So there's always like a 3-hour window in the gym where it's dead. So this is global, isn't it? You can walk into most gyms between 12 noon, 3 o'clock and go, tumbleweed, there's no fucker there. Come 3:30, 4 o'clock, people are coming in, especially labourers, brickies and chippies and sparkies, people that are doing labour work. They come in, they finish early, 4 o'clock, they're at the gym by 1:15 with their work boots on, covered in cement, trudging cement to the gym. It's true, isn't it? And by 5 o'clock you're booming again, and then up until 10 p.m. So there's 2 rush hours. There's 2 rush periods in commercial gyms, / corporate health clubs / bodybuilding dungeons across the entire industry. So I divide my day into 10 clients, 5 and 5, at my peak there'd be like a 10-day waiting list. But I never had a 2-week waiting list for an appointment. So again, that's me exaggerating, isn't it? Adding 4 days. But yeah, I'm so busy I can't book you in for a fortnight. No, I could see you in about 10 days, and that was from a new prospect. If I had a prospective client and I was also giving a consultation. So I met Harold, I was about year 3 because I'd done my YMCA, and my doctor friend Dave, he was studying because he was trained under Sir Harold Ellis, and this chap I'm talking about now, today, himself, is in the Royal College of Surgeons. The last time I saw him was on the day of my kidney transplant. He could see what the roster was in terms of who was getting a transplant. I never told him because we'd sort of fallen out. We'd gone our separate ways. And I was living in Croydon, obviously, and he walked into my ward and obviously found out that I was having the transplant. And the last time I saw him, so that's 8 years ago. But his prof, professor, his prof was, because you'd call him a Don, D-O-N, Don or prof, was Sir Harold Ellis. And so it was probably 97, about 97, 96, 97, and I was peak young Justin, I was, what would I have been, 25, 24, 25, lots of hair, abs all year round. I was that guy, living in Lycra. It was the 90s, man. We just lived in spandex, we lived in Lycra. I was one of those pricks that would teach, I've got photos of this shit actually. I looked like a smurf, I was always in blue, full on kick flares. If you don't know, kick flares were what every aerobics instructor used to wear. So skin tight leggings that went out to a flare, hence the name kick flares. So every class instructor, every PT, from 93 till about 2000. For a good 7 years they were uber trendy. Some still wear them. You have to wear a thong, you have to wear a G-string, otherwise you're going to see, VPL. You can't wear regular pants underneath those. And the most popular company was one called Energique, and they flooded Europe and they flooded America, hot skins as well, so you live in this shit. You wash it under a tap as well, really. So you've like 3 uniforms for Fitness First and David Lloyd and Virgin, and just navy blue all day long, or sky blue, or royal blue, or azure blue, or black, and skin tight. You'd see my abs under the lycra, and bum and legs always on display because it's skin tight. But they didn't go down to what lads wear now. I mean, they're tighter than what lads are wearing now because they're proper aerobic teaching trousers, kick flares, but they went wide, as the name suggests, a kick flare. They went out from the knee, which I prefer, rather than just going complete drain pipe. And we lived in this stuff, and I taught in this, and I was wearing that at King's. Oh yeah. And I actually tied a Fitness First. My uniform was a Fitness First sweatshirt, which I tied off around my waist. So I thought, my God, my bum, because I was so proud of my bum. I'd worked so hard to get my arse. It's the biggest muscle group we've got. I'd done so many deadlifts and so many squats and so many hypers to get my bum, to get my glutes. I'd lunged for it. I deadlifted for it. I did front squats for it. I did walking, everything, reverse lunge, everything, all sorts, to get my arse. And I remember just looking at Dave as I walked into this. You could best describe it as, they call it an auditorium, they call it, where they're doing, like the movie From Hell with Johnny Depp, Jack the Ripper, when there's like those 18th, very Victorian, where you've got, I think it's an auditorium, isn't it? You've got like a lecture, amphitheatre, more like an amphitheatre, that's what I mean. You've got the elevated wooden seats, and all the 1 to 4, the first year to 4th year doctors sit around there watching the surgeon in the middle, and I managed to get, because I wasn't a doctor of course, simply a PT from Bournemouth, but because of Dave, he was Dave's boss, it's like, oh, this is my best friend Justin, he's up from Bournemouth, and I got to see several of these classes, and I thought, my God, you lucky shit, Just, because I wasn't a King's student, I wasn't a medical student. And even then, most of these students were Indian, Persian, Asian, Pakistani, a couple of whites, but mostly that ethnicity, because their parents, Asians and Persians. A lot of the girls were beautiful, really, really attractive. That lovely caramel skin, that beautiful olive brown skin. They're not dark, they're not light. They've got a lovely, I've always called it Caramac, the colour of the Caramac bar, that beautiful coffee skin. I love that skin, with this amazing black eye. It's a very attractive Persian and Asian looking girls, from moneyed families where the parents have gone, you will be a doctor, so that's the company I was sat in, little white boy here with his bloody lycra on, with a Fitness First sweatshirt tied around my waist, basically covering my arse and nuts, because I thought, it's not very appropriate, Justin. These people are in medical attire. Lee, you've seen it when they're all on wards, they wear just basically whites, don't they? The white long coats. Sweltering hot, summertime, July, August. This is a really clear memory, but a lovely memory. And I had the option of wet prep or dry prep. So me being me, I said, oh, let's have a look at a wet prep cadaver. So, he takes Sir Harold Ellis, is lecturing away, gather round. Think of what I'm seeing here. This beats any online course, this beats any manual. I've still got my manual in the kitchen cupboard there from '95. So that was, the biomechanics and learning Krebs cycle and learning, fat burns in the flame of carbon. This is why I always tell people don't cut carbs out entirely, because fat burns in carbon. Hello, carbon, carbohydrate. Anyway, what do I know? But cut open the breast, cut open the pec, tore it off like a Sunday, like a turkey. And I thought, that's how you're going to learn about muscle origin to insertion. that you look at you like a lesson. Yeah, it was amazingly. It was. Do you know how it was so humbling, because I realised I was the least qualified. You know, just because I was a hotshot PT. And bear in mind, this is one thing I'm very grateful for, and I reckon Doug could say the same thing. I mean, Doug's 3 years younger than me, but we both lived through what I call the premiere or the premium era of not just bodybuilding but personal training, because I was certainly the first PT in Fitness First from inception. How can I not have been? Because they started with one club, which was my home club in Bournemouth. They had one club before we climbed to 165. I say we, like I'm still with them. But I gave them a good dozen years, and that's not true. I gave them 11 years actually. Yeah, I gave them 11 years all told up. And it's yeah, it was just an honour to be the first PT. And I remember watching this cadaver being dissected, you know, literally. Here's the bicep, here's the quad, here's the pec, here's how a lat works. You know, you think, I mean, when I said to you, Lee, you know, write down a dozen things you can do for your lats, you can. You know, your barbell rowing and your dumbbell rowing and your chins and your pull-ups and pull-downs and this row and that row and mid-row and low row and high row and, you know, pullovers and, you know, everything. There's dozens of rows and pulls, and there's, in fact, training lats is, in terms of exercise repertoire, you're gonna get the most, because it's cable, bar, dumbbell, machine. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's more than just lat pull down. Anyway, I remember being fixated on the lat because it looked like one of those ice cream wafers. It does. It really looks like an ice cream wafer because it fans out under the arms. You know, it originates under the armpit and inserts or terminates, in, depending on genetics, down near the waist. It tails off into a literal tail that goes into sort of, you know, abs and obliques really, and intercostals, those muscles in the midsection. And then you know, rectus spinae, the two vipers running, you know, pythons, you know, pillars running parallel either side, laterally to your spine. And I came back to Bournemouth mesmerised, just infected in a good way. And I looked at my textbooks and I looked at my clients and my peers, you know, my co-workers, my peers and my colleagues, and thought, I have been exposed to another realm of learning, another strata, another sphere of seeing, you know, actually seeing. I'll tell you what was sad. One of the women being cut up on the slab couldn't have been more than 26 or 28, and apparently she was a car crash victim. But there was no markings. I'll tell you what was very sad about this. It sticks in my mind really vividly. She had a wedding ring on. Well, I say wedding ring, it might have been an engagement ring, but on the ring finger, you know, and Sir Harold Ellis made a point of very respectfully sliding it off. And he washed his hands first, then touched the ring, then took it off, gave it to a student to put in a bag, like a sterilised bag, you know, an airtight sterilised bag, and said, "Oh, would you mind?" And then came back to the body and didn't say a word, and just said, "Students, we just need to acknowledge that this was a young lady at the prime of her life." And I remember I started to cry. I remember it so, because I'll tell you what, I don't mind saying this because I am talking about a dead body here. She was a pretty thing. So I'm serious, mate. She was a pretty thing. A redhead, not ginger, but a redhead, like a red brunette. And 26, 28, and there was no, she wasn't bashed up, but the seatbelt had stopped her and it shook her organs, and you know this as well as I, Lee. When you have a massive impact in a car, your brain in water will go like that, won't it, in the skull, and your heart literally is shorn off. The heart will detach, and due to the strength of the impact, Well, exactly, Lee. Books and online are very convenient, are very advanced, are very clever, but I don't think there's anything quite like us. You know what I mean? It's like if you said, I mean, Lee, I recently took first aid. I say recently, mate. It was before COVID, and I've been off for 14 months. So probably 20 months ago, if I'm honest, I had to take it for work, and I've not done any first aid. Like the resuscitation, doing doing all that shit, and the airway and all that bollocks. I had not done it for 18, 19 years. I was well out of touch. Again, just about past it, but I'm not very good at actually passing things. I'll blurt out loads of knowledge afterwards and beforehand, but I've never actually been good at being examined. I've never been good. I've always just scraped through, even when I've prepared and revised, and I've never been strong with being assessed or looked at or inspected or examined on the day. I've never been good at that. As long as I can remember, I've always been the guy that just, you know what I mean? Like if you're required to get 70-75%, I will just about get that. It is, Lee. I really, again, I make no bones about admitting this, and this is going to sound really like an egotistical statement, but I'm also proud to say this. I wasn't the best PT because I was the first. Yes, I was the first PT, and obviously Fitness First and David Lloyd were locked in a real war in the 90s, and Fitness First won out by sheer volume and affordability. Because as you know, your David Lloyd clubs were sort of, well, they still are, aren't they? David Lloyd, £80 a month if you're lucky. They, the sort of tennis, corporate, families, swanky, 12 quid, 15 quid for a cheeseburger, isn't it? It's one of those, I'll see you in the clubhouse, Philip. Okay, Giles. It's one of those, isn't it? And they've always been like that. Whereas Fitness First in the 90s, the model that, well, that their I suppose our actual logo was affordable fitness. Affordable fitness. That was the entire logo. Those two words. That was my uniform. Affordable fitness. 20 quid it was. Family memberships for 20 quid. Students for 16 quid. So cheap then, cheap now, and you did get a lot for your money. But I digress. I went around the UK doing, out of 165 clubs, I probably touched about 38, 48. Yeah, 38, 48, around there. I know that's a gap, like I should say 38, 40. But I know it wasn't as many as 50 clubs, but I know it's more than 35. You know what I mean? I'm talking the ones up north as well. Nottingham, Derby, Liverpool, Chester, Coventry, Milton Keynes, Northampton, and then Fareham Farm, Southampton, Bournemouth, and Essex, Chelmsford, Chatham, Colchester. The list goes on. Ipswich, I was, it goes on, yeah, I'd go around making sure that the PTs were up to scratch, because it was me in 2000, as I was getting out, that put forward the business model for the future plan which they adopted, which they took. So I'm quite proud of that, but stupid boy, I never should have released it. I basically provided a very professionally typed business plan for the future of PT, for Fitness First, and it was 8 PTs per club, 4 girls, 4 boys, for optimum client choice. You charge a monkey, so £500 per PT per head. Obviously not per client, just per PT, for the privilege of using the gym facilities. So 8 PTs, like I say, 4 girls, 4 boys, definitely involved in the diversity thing. I made a point then. This was 98, 99, I was in Edinburgh at the time, teaching some up there. and I said this is the future of it. You know, you want in shape PTs and not so in shape PTs. You want PTs from 18 to 50. You want PTs that are, you know, good looking and not so good looking. You want PTs that are in great shape and not so great. You want, you know, PTs that people can relate to. You know, you want, not everyone wanted me as a PT. I looked like a fucking Fabio slash bodybuilder. Well, I was modelling, wasn't I? Fucking Calvin Klein modelling, for God's sake. And major car companies, Mercedes, Toyota, Ford, all the time doing big car shoots, and just, you know, like I say, Calvin Klein and D&G, perfume, and Sunday supplement magazines, all that shit. So I was doing modelling on the regular. That was intimidating for some clients. So they were like, I don't want Justin, he looks too fancy, you know, he looks too Hollywood. It was all like that, and I had all the hair and all the... So that's not helpful to some clients. That's the last thing they want, you know. So I got that and made sure that other PTs I was hiring were just normal looking, you know what I mean, just you know, fit, in health, in good health, but not pressurizing the client by going, you have to have muscles like me. Do you know what I mean? I wanted, it's like that film Dodgeball with Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn, you know, Globo Gym, because we're better than you, you know, versus Average Joe's Gym. It's a wonderful, hilarious, one of my favourite films, Dodgeball. You know, Vince Vaughn runs Average Joe's Gym across the street from Globo Gym, and it's Ben Stiller doing a parody of the corporate fitness. It's like blazing purple logos, Globo Gym, because we're better than you, you know. And that's actually, and I just thought, that, God, it's so easy to fall into that trap. Amazing me the amount you have achieved, and absolutely, thank you, Lee. I you know, when I talk about what I've done, I feel a sense of achievement, and then I also think, I don't ever do it just because you sound like a bit of a cock, you know, sort of. I think there's a fine line between telling a story, well, my story, the story of my professional career, but I know if my parents were alive, especially my father, you know, as per our conversation last night, I know my dad would say to me now, you know, Just, you gave 27 years to that industry, and I went, I mean, Lee, let's have it right. When I was 18, which puts me at 1990, yeah, that figures actually, because I was born in 72, so Jan 1990, I'm 18, I was hired by a hotel, and it was called the Durley Hall Hotel, with the Durley Dean and the Durley Hall on the cliff top here, because Bournemouth is a seaside town, yeah? So the actual cliff top in Bournemouth overlooks Bournemouth. You've got the, they always had Maggie Thatcher down here and Tony Blair. You know, we always had the political party conference down here every year. You know, my brother's done it with, you know, the whole, well, I can't say too much, but, you know, I've gone to concerts there at the Bournemouth International Centre. You know, it's kind of a big deal. And all the hotel district of Bournemouth was behind there. And the Durley Hall Hotel hired me blindly, just on the interview, just on the fact that I gave a good interview and I showed willing. As a leisure attendant, I was a leisure attendant, wait for it, in Below Decks Leisure Club. I shit you not, Below Decks Leisure Club. And my role was pool testing. We had indoor and outdoor jacuzzis and indoor and outdoor pool. We're talking like a 1920s, 1930s hotel here. Your classic Bournemouth Blue Ritz Granny's Hotel, you know. Bournemouth was, well, it is still a beautiful seaside town. It's massively, sadly gone downhill. You know, we had the Carlton and the Royal Bath Hotel where the fucking Queen stayed every year. Again, it's sadly gone downhill. Bournemouth in the 80s, I'll tell you what, I'll say it now, Bournemouth in the 70s, 80s and 90s, the first 30 years of my life was a really, really sought after destination. I mean, Sandbanks still is in Poole, the peninsula. They don't call it Millionaires Row for nothing. You know, a shitty house is 4 million, up to 11, 30, well, up, no, north of 15 million. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I was at the Durley Hall Hotel. Mr. Murray was the proprietor, long since died. I was a leisure attendant. I would do pool testing, acid and alkaline testing in the pool. I had no experience. Gym programming, gym maintenance and cleaning, and serving coffee. And just basically, you're 18, Justin, you know, again, it's the young Justin. I was into skateboarding and motorbikes, that's all I did. You know, how high was I popping ollies on my skateboard and doing 180, you know, down the M25 and M3 on my motorbike. Another story, you know, a British superbike I had. We're not talking a shop bike, we're talking British superbike, featured in performance bikes and fast bikes. I've still got the magazine. My bike as a cover magazine, as a, you know, cover bike, built by the British superbike champion Terry Reimer, Loctite Yamaha, 91, 92. You know, against Carl Fogarty and the late Steve Hislop, British superbike winning bike. He built me a replica of his bike. You know, went on to World Superbikes. There's a lot of things I've done that I don't really talk about. Yeah, so there's that side of it as well. You know, the motorbike stuff. But anyway, so that's the guy I was at 18, and I hadn't really fallen into the gym bodybuilding thing yet, and just you know. In Below Decks Leisure Club, I had my first girlfriend. Was still a virgin, by the way. You know, I'm not ready to say that. I lost my virginity on the weekend of my 21st birthday. Yep, 21. 20 bloody one. I lost my virginity. Again, it's TrueHouse. It's TrueHouse. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I think it's funny. I think it's funny. I was shit scared and I had no idea. And there's a lovely girl called Tracy Sturgis. I'll say her name because she's cool. She went on to be a paramedic. I think she's left town now years ago. She's one of my first girlfriends. I met her at the Below Decks Leisure Club. Had a mad crush on her. She was going out with a guy called Mark, the manager. He's the restaurant manager. He's a right smarmy. Turned out to be gay. This is quite funny. Yeah, she went out with Mark, and I was insanely jealous because you know what it's like when you're 18. You're just full of hormones, you know. And I was still a virgin. Lovely little blonde thing. I mean, look. Let's put in perspective the chronology here, the chronological timeline. The Simpsons were just out. You know, we're talking 1990 here. I had a Bart Simpson T-shirt. I had a Bart Simpson, you know, like pencil set at work, all that sort of shit. A Bart Simpson keyring in the car, the XR2i I was driving. Yeah, you know, and I bought this 12 grand motorbike. I saved up the money doing 18-hour days at the post office before I got this gig at the Derry Hall Hotel. You know, 120-hour weeks to get this bike, 12 grand bike. It built by Terry Reimer, British Superbike champion. So ended up dating Tracy eventually. I got sacked from the hotel. I was influenced by Point Break, Swayze, Cameron Reeves. Point Break came out. Should I admit this on camera or not? Yeah, fuck it. It's been enough years. You know the aluminium. It's all right, Lee. You're gonna just laugh. You're gonna be like, fucking hell, what a twat. You know the aluminium beer barrels. You know, the proper industrial, actual beer barrels. You know that you'd see outside a pub, right? You know, a brewery, actual beer barrels. Yeah, I put one straight through the window, mate. I got fired. I was given 10 minutes. This is by I lasted about probably 18 months. I would have been 19 odd. Lasted about 18 months. Yeah, about a year and a half I was there for. I was in the staff room because I was smoking then. You know, I used to be a terrible smoker. I was a right full-time smoker from. God, I smoked cigarettes from 19 through till 30. Good 11, 12 years of proper smoking. Oh yeah. Raffles, B&H, menthols, Richmond, you know, in Essex, Richmond menthols, terrible. I ran a gym in Newbury called Flex Gym. Again, these guys have died now. Graham Black at Newbury, Mikey Sherrin at Oxford, so I was going Oxford, Newbury. There's loads of shit I've done. I just it's weird really. I need to write this bloody book. I've already given the book a title. It's called, you know, In Exclusion, which is a hybrid word. Not inclusion, not exclusion, in exclusion. It's a made-up word. Kind of like inexcusable, but in exclusion, but I wanted to always be included, but I was actually excluded. Anyway, I've got the book in the head, I've just got to write it. And the book starts with me aged 5, first day at school. It literally starts with the first beating I got. Trying to be included, but I got excluded, so hence the title. And anyway, so dating Tracy, I was still skateboarding, you know, obviously the motorbikes, influenced by films like Point Break. We're talking 1990 now, 1991. I stuck, Lee, to the staff room ceiling for no reason, for no reason. You know the St. Ivel butter squares, those little, you know when you get lovely little squares of butter, you know, if you go to a restaurant or a pub, and there's, I could just eat them, you know, they're lovely, like, I don't know about you, but it's a terrible vice. You know, you go to a, you know, they have a prawn cocktail lunch with a crusty French roll or whatever, and you open those little, you know, those little packets of butter, and you just put in. My dad, bless him, you know, he ignored the doctors when he got his diabetes and, you know, pancreatitis and pancreatic cancer and liver cancer, and he, you know, died in 12 weeks. But Dad would still eat those full butters, like you had that much butter on about that much bread, you know, so like a 1-to-1 ratio. Would you like some bread with your butter, Mr. House? And that was in me, and I stuck about 50, I shit you not, I stuck about 50 from the bread basket from the restaurant at the Durley Hall Hotel. The chefs loved me. I was a naughty little fucker, do you know what I mean? I was a reb, I was a right little rebel. I was the one doing handbrake turns in the car park. You know, I do things like, look, to put it in perspective, I was the one that went skinny dipping in the pool. I was the one that turned off the CCTV cameras and ran around the hotel naked. I got off with a really fat barmaid called Julie. Her brother Dave smacked me because I apparently broke her heart. But I was still a virgin. I was a right little knob. Music, well, you know, MTV. Music was in excess. Seal, you know. So we're talking Killer by Seal. You know. Mars, Moby, you know, that this was the music, early house music. Hell, Duran Duran, yeah, you know, it's talking. You would have to write a book just to make your CV. Yeah, exactly. It's. But I don't want to sound like I'm giving it Billy Big Bollocks. Like, oh yeah, Justin was doing his live stream really bragging the other night, because it's not. It's not. If I tell my story as I am right now, just flat, really flat. These are the facts. Just bang. You know, I'm not. You know, like the biggest exaggeration was when I was saying, oh, I had 60 clients, but I actually had 50. You know, that's as bad as I got. So a lot of the things I say are actually delivered in a very conservative way, a very flat way. They don't need embellishment or exaggeration or polishing up. They don't, you know, the story is enough, I think. And anyway, so yeah, I had lots of little dares. You know, I did skinny dipping and, you know, got drunk, and we, after hours drinks with the staff, and I eventually got with this girl Tracy, and we dated for years. She was lovely, actually. I got banned. I got reported. Someone reported me. I think one reporters with a northern porter called Sean. You know, the boys that take all the suitcases to the rooms. The actual, you know, hotel porter. You know, help you with the bags, ma'am. You know. And I was, like I say, for no reason other than boredom, for no reason other than to impress my fellow staff, my peers, I stuck all these same butters to the staff room ceiling, probably 50 packets, and then proceeded to get everyone's fag butts. I mean, why? Why, Justin? Why? This is in my lunch hour, everyone's fag butts, and then stick them in the butter. Are you with me? So you think those little packets of butter, they're definitely going to stick to an Artex ceiling or even a flat ceiling, and then these fag butts stuck in that as well, like modern art. And you know, the hotel proprietor, Mark, the manager that was dating Tracy, and the proprietor, Mr. Murray, went fucking mental. Someone identified that, oh, it might be Justin House from Below Deck Leisure Club, and when they said, "Did you do this?" I was like, "Yeah." Yeah. Why? I don't know. Well, what have you got to say for yourself? Do you know what I mean? You really screamed at me. I said, I've got no excuse, Mr. Murray. I don't know what came over me, because I wasn't with anyone. I wasn't trying to go, look at me, lads. The staff room was dead. I mean, I may have been in there literally me and perhaps one person. So anyway, I know that Sean, he's from Sheffield actually. Interesting. I know he saw me, so someone grasped anyway. But I wasn't going to let anyone else take the rap, so I was given 10 minutes to get my belongings into my locker and leave. I gave it a fortnight after leaving, and then, check it out, Lee, one thing I became quite good at was doing handbrake turns. So in the car, you know, you just whack on the handbrake and do a J turn or do a 180 handbrake turn. There's a slight gravel, there's an overspill staff members car park, you know, so for hotel patrons, and of course staff cars weren't allowed to mix with patron, you know, with guest cars. There's an overspill car park at the back of the Durley Hall Hotel outside Mr. Murray's office, and that also led to the back of the restaurant slash bar. You know what I'm thinking, right? Beer barrels. So me and my friends Darren, Nick and Dennis, oh my god, it's all coming out. So I let the car run, did a handbrake turn. The lads were, who was sat in my car? I think Nick was. Funny thing is, right, these lads that I've mentioned, we were all the same height. Seriously, Dennis was shorter, the Irishman, Dennis was a bit shorter, but not short, he was still probably about 6 foot, but me, Nick and Darren were all 6'5". Really weird, it wasn't just fate. We were called Lanky Streaks, you know, like the three amigos, Lanky Streaks, me, Darren and Nick. Darren Bailey, Nick Raymond, we are all 6'5", bang on, all three of us, really weird. So I was like, guys, keep the car going, keep the engine going, want a quick getaway. And I was starting to train then, you know, I was getting stronger, I was still very wiry, still very skinny, no real muscle yet, but I was getting strong, you know, I was young, I was fit, I was ballsy. Picked up this beer barrel, it can't have been full because I could feel it slushing around, you know, there's a difference between picking up empty and full ones and half full. Long story short, I just rolled it up onto my chest, like you see them doing World Strongman, you know, where they get the Atlas stones. Rolled onto my chest, didn't even think about the CCTV, because there fucking was CCTV, right? But it was night time, so, you know, whatever. I mean, anyway, I'll get on to what happened, but I stoved it through the window of Mr. Murray's office, and obviously ran. I remember running back to the car. I mean, this entire event took, what, 8 seconds, 6 seconds, isn't it? And you know as well as I. You do something like that, you know, you stove through a huge plain glass office window with a beer barrel, you know, you got the entire event from leaving your car to getting it, rolling it on your chest, hoofing it through the window, you fucking leg it, you run like the wind, 1,000, 2, 1,000, you know what I mean? It's like literally 8 to 10 seconds, the entire thing. It's pretty quick. All I remember doing is having a vague idea of the CCTV location and keeping myself very close to his office, like as in, you know, like literally under the gutter, so I didn't have to stand back and launch it. And I remember at best that, because also the car was like a little cul-de-sac leading onto like local block of flats there just near on the cliff top. So I remember the car was probably 80 yards, 50 to 80 yards, do you know what I mean? So I knew I was aware enough, you know, in terms of the criminal aspect of what I was doing, to not have the car, you know, on the hotel property. And you know, we are talking 1990, 91 here, so it wasn't CCTV wasn't as you know, ubiquitous as it is now. And I remember legging it towards the car and then letting out a bit of wee. Yeah, there's a couple of reasons when you will piss yourself: fear or laughter. It's true. If you know, if people admit it, if people are honest, you can piss yourself through laughter, and you can piss yourself through fear / adrenaline. Like, you know, you're going to get beaten up by these 8 blokes now. You really can't guarantee this. You are going to take a fucking pasting. You can't run. You are literally in a corner, and you are going to get hurt. You know, there's that stomach, you know, oh my god, let out a bit of wee. Not actually like down the trouser leg piss, but just a little map of the world, you know, like a little bit of wee. There's that weeing yourself, and there's the weeing yourself from laughing. And mine was fear, really. I was like, shit, adrenaline, laughter, fear. I knew the lads would be impressed, but I got back in the car, and I remember just like, Nick was obviously keeping the car running. I was like, get over, you know. And he's like, and he to be fair, he was a very good driver, probably a better driver than me. He had a black Cosy, Sierra Cosworth 4x4. And we all had Fords, like I say, I had a XR2i, Darren had a white RS Turbo, and Nick had this black 4x4 Cosy Sierra. Let me, right, 19 seconds, I'm going to continue this. But I got away, I ran away with a bit of wee. And I had Russell Athletic I was wearing, grey Russell Athletic hoodie, Reeboks and matching trousers with a bit of wee. Right, 3 seconds. I'm going to continue this shit. And we're live, we're back. Sorry about the delay there. I do apologise. I tried to do it as quickly as possible. Scoffing a bit of porridge, as you do. Let's get this. Now. There you are. Hey Lee. Wave to Lee. Just doing a little bit of scoff here. So yeah, that was a story. Thank you. I just quickly wrote on the description, episode 370, Justin, storyteller Justin inexplicably unravels his past. And there's me tonight, fully planning on talking about this book. I don't read books, I listen to books on Audible. Doing my cardio here on the bike, I'm playing Blitzed, which is a true narrated, factual. It's a true history, true facts about the Third Reich and Hitler's campaign with the Nazis, as they basically the stormtroopers got to Paris in 3 days. Their campaign was. They'd readied themselves to get out of Germany and to invade and to get to Paris, the Eiffel Tower, in a fortnight. And where they'd all done methamphetamine, a drug called Pervitin, which was basically methamphetamine hydrochloride, hello, crystal meth, they stormed their way, that's why it's called Blitzkrieg, across the countryside, the German countryside, straight into Paris, and invaded Paris inside 3 days. So I was going to talk about that, but fuck it, let me finish the story. So that just gives you the sort of essence of the nature of me in those days. And that was my first, looking back, I'm not proud of it, but I am, because it's funny. It's a funny story now, because we are talking 30 years ago, aren't we? Yeah. Oh my God, we are talking 30 years ago. That's crazy. The hotel is still there. I drive past it all the time. When I say all the time, whenever I go into Bournemouth, the route I take into Bournemouth, I always put along the beach there, and I see it, and I chuckle, because what I'm learning about life is that when you think of a memory 30 years ago, like if I say, oh, remember this from 1990, people would say, Christ, that's a long time ago. Well, yeah, it's 3 decades ago. But just relaying the story now, just conveying the anecdote right here now, saying, oh yeah, you know, this is the girl I met, and this was the personal training I was doing, and this is what I was wearing, and this is where I was at, and this is how I was behaving, and this happened, and this happened. You know, it just feels like last week. Life experiences that make us at this end of it all that makes us at the end. Yeah, it does. It does. I think. Yeah, very well said, Lee. Because it's just we are a collection of it all, aren't we? And this is why when I know it's a bit morbid to say this, but this is why when you see people dying young, it's incredibly sad because even the most experienced young person can. Hello, mate. You're right. Wave to Nin. You know, I don't worry. I'm not going to take it in this direction because it's been hopefully a very funny and uplifting one tonight. Like I say, these live streams, they really take on their own direction because as you can tell, I mean, if you think about what I posted tonight for Wired Wednesday, just this Blitz book about, like I say, about the speed at which Hitler and his troops, that's where the word blitzkrieg came from. They were using Pervitin, this methamphetamine hydrochloride, and off their nut, absolutely caked, just marched literally. When you think about films like Saving Private Ryan, and they're just literally marching across the countryside, those patchwork quilts kind of fields and through the hedgerows, and the Sherman Panzer, whatever the Panzer tanks, just like ploughing through the hedgerows. That's why hedgerows were so thick, incidentally, to stop troops and even tanks going through. Very, very thick gorse, you know, brambles and stuff. Anyway, they got into Paris apparently in 3 days, and they'd scheduled 14 for the campaign because of methamphetamine keeping them up. Intentionally, they just literally 24 hours. It's nice to have them in here. So, but what I've ended up talking about is not that. I've ended up talking about, you know, initially my first foray into, you know, true cadaver preparation, seeing real dissection, and just, you know, I'm glad we looked up Sir Harold Ellis, you know, being 95 years of age, Professor Harold Ellis at King's College University Hospital London. He is world famous as an anatomist, as an anatomical surgeon, and to have been there as essentially, let's face it, I was a Bournemouth PT. The first PT, admittedly, from inception with Fitness First and just getting my YMCA London Central going, an American college. The one I was more proud of was the ACSM, the American College of Sports Medicine, because it just went a bit deeper. But I don't know, man. Just I had no place being in the company of doctors at Harold, you know, Professor Harold Ellis, allowing me to get so close to a cadaver being dissected. You know, that's like I say, that's something that stuck with me all these years, and it made me understand that our anatomy, the fragility and the splendour of our anatomy when slicing the fucker open. And for some reason I've segued into this, my first year in the leisure industry, as a leisure attendant, and to my sacking, I'm just literally giving the hits now because I want Nin to hear it, and upon my dismissal, intelligently waiting a fortnight and then going back there and chest rolling and launching a full size, not full but certainly by no means empty, proper industrial aluminium, you know, beer barrel, you know, proper keg right through the window of the hotel proprietor. You know, it's just funny, man. What was my second? shit, do you know what? I went straight from there to fitness first. Yeah, I did. I really did. Okay, I was doing door work as well. That was a point of contention. The hiring of me in terms of licensing was considered controversial because there were no doormen in Bournemouth my age. And believe it or not, I'm a bit embarrassed to say this, but it's funny. It's cringeworthy, but it's funny. The local paper, the local newspaper down here is called the Bournemouth Evening Echo, and the Echo did a piece on me and my boss, so the head of security, and another chap that was in the article with me. But I was the youngest doorman that had been employed, and all these other doormen were 21 and over, and I was 18. So it was just nothing of me. Just to, I hadn't started bodybuilding properly. And the uniform was pink blazer, and when I say pink, I don't mean burgundy. It was pink, actual pink, neon pink, white shirt, black bow tie. But the venue nightclub, 2,500 capacity. Obviously, we'd fuck it up on the clicker and put in, another 500. So 3,000 capacity club. Typical grabber granny night on a Wednesday, 25s and over. But I was there 6 nights a week. The only night I had off was Tuesday. Sunday nights were wild. Sunday nights were just absolutely mental. That's where the whole house thing started, really, with all-nighters on Sundays. You come away from valuing the experience. Chances are there was trainee doctors that ended up being dentists. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. In fact, Lee, you're right. There was I remember a couple of those doctors. You can smell wealth. You can see. You know what I mean by that. There's some. When you see a 20-something-year-old Asian, Persian, and like I say, a lot of these girls in their white doctors' coats, they were first, I think it was year 1 to year 4 in their doctor, in their learnings. They've got to do 8 years or 10 years, haven't they? I think my mate did 8 years, and before they pass, it's not the sort of thing you do in a couple of years. It's 8 to 10 years of being a medical student, And but you could tell they'd come from wealth. You could tell they were from money. And I remember a couple of girls on that course doing the dissection anatomy course, because it was everything. I mean, I'm talking about opening up the throat for the carotid artery and stuff. It's kind of weird, mate, because you realise. I don't want to sound inappropriate, but when they're cutting into this, whether it's wet prep or dry prep, so one's been embalmed and one hasn't, and then many years later, watching stupidly on ogrish.com before I got pulled down, ISIS head removals, you think, Jesus. In terms of actual, it's brutal, really. But yeah, excuse me eating porridge. I just haven't eaten. I've left it late today. But yeah, pretty girls, pretty doctors ended up going into dentistry. I do remember having lunch with a few of these doctors in their sort of canteen at King's, and you sat there. In fact, I ended up dating a nurse from King's, seriously, when I was starting dialysis. Here's a story for you. I'm not going to say her name, but she was a freak. She was a full Mormon. We're talking Utah, Salt Lake City, the whole thing. So her family, and I'm not being disrespectful to their religion, because fair play to them, But her family were going on and I just started dialysis, and I was on Fisk and Cheer ward in King's, which is in the old part of the building at the very back, at the very end, where the ceilings get lower and lower and lower. Oh boy, I think the ground floor or the first floor. Huh. Anyway, but I ended up going out on a few dates with this girl, and she was bang into Twilight, right? Seriously, she had all the books. She was right into Twilight, you know, Team Jacob, Team Edward, all that shit. And a full-on Mormon, and her family would go to Utah, Salt Lake City, because that's the global annual convention. And a couple of times I took the piss about, you know, the sacred stones and the tablets and all the, you know, the seer stone and all this sort of stuff, and she went mental. We were sat at TGI's, Blue Water, and I had one of those Jack Daniels salmon fillets with the Jack Daniels sauce and broccoli and mashed potato. I love that meal. To this day, I love that, just spud, salmon and broccoli. And I took the piss out of her a bit. I said, oh yeah, you know, is it true that whatever he's called, the kitty, is it called the seer stone, or I don't know. Hang on. Hey Google, who started the Mormon movement?
Latter-day Saint movement was founded by Joseph Smith.
That's it. I said Jacob, but it's Joseph Smith. Latter-day Saints. Hey Google, did Joseph Smith have seer stones?
According to Wikipedia, according to Latter-day Saint theology, seer stones were believed to have been used by Joseph Smith, as well as ancient prophets, to receive revelations from God.
Let me share, guys. I have here, actually, to try and be clever. Right. We're going to educate ourselves. Hey Google, please explain the story with Joseph Smith and his seer stones.
Here is some information for it. How did Joseph Smith find his seer stone? According to Wikipedia, according to an uncorroborated account by Hale, Smith attempted to locate the mine by burying his face in a hat containing the seer stone. However, as the treasure hunters got close to their objective, Smith said that an enchantment became so strong that Smith could no longer see it.
Okay. The thing is, when you're getting into religion, whether it's like, you know, the Mormon thing or the Christian thing, you know, or the Muslim thing, I wish, oh, I shouldn't really go there, because you know, guys, I'm not being funny, I went to Sunday school. My parents sent me to Sunday school. And I will actually, this is really good. This is, thank you very much, sir. Love you. I'm going to use this more, because you can just hold it and be like, you know, that's something. I can just have it here. Actually, let me make sure I've got the responsiveness good. Display, EE Hub, about device, Dew Hub Max. I've got Dew Hub Max and Dew Hub Mid. I've got the mid one and the max. This is the max. Alright, we're good. I think what I need to do is...
The camera's back on.
Camera's on. I should keep the camera off really, shouldn't I? Sound. Let's go... Hang on. Hey Google, take the volume to number 7, please. Oh, it's done it. Okay. Nest cam monitoring off. I can dismiss that. Yeah, sorry, that freaks me out a bit. The idea of the camera watching me all the time. Bit scary. I want to go back. So that's nice. Good evening, Jew. And lovely. And it does all this sort of stuff. Do you know, I'm ever so excited about the Pixel 6 Pro. Ever so excited. I had this chat with Nin recently. You know, this, in fact, with Lee here, it's really good because all three of us. In fact, this is the perfect trio of if Nin's still around, Nin, Lee, and myself. I'll tell you why, chaps, because I've said this. You know, you can tell me to fucking sling my hook if you like. Be like, shut up, Jess, you're talking bollocks. But you know, I think I said this to Lee actually. I certainly said it to Nin. If you're trying to convince someone to leave the Apple tip, and look, there is. Let's be quite clear about this. I mean, I downloaded because I'm an Apple developer. In other words, I pay £70 a year to have beta software updates. You know, a couple of months, isn't it? A couple of months before the public do even. And let me just get my little mat. That's what I want. I've even got a little mat for it to sit on to protect its undercarriage. And the fact that the Worldwide Developer Conference yesterday, WWDC, it's such a big thing, and I've had this chat with Nin. There is, I can't deny this because there's being stubborn and there's being truthful, and this is where there is a line of demarcation between subjective and objective. It is fair to say, and yes, I'm giving my opinion, but it's an opinion that I think if you showed it to a dozen people, they'd all kind of admit it. Let's just, and again, we're just talking about app developers here and how an app developer or developers, probably due to financial remuneration, will stylize and, you know, curate and tailor their app and their app's development to look better on an iOS device versus an Android device, or vice versa. So, and I don't know what this is like for someone with NatWest or HSBC, but I'm with Santander. I know that if I'm looking at my Santander banking, you know, my private account on any Android device, whether it's a Google, you know, a OnePlus, a Samsung, or whatever, right? Compared to my iOS device, it's a hands down win for the iOS. It's not even, you know, like, it's 80% good looking on the Android and 100% squared off and beautiful and symmetrical and colourful and full on the iOS. So that's due to the app developers choosing to go, right, we're going to put our eggs all in the Apple basket for the development that we're doing for Santander, for that app, to be optimized best for iOS over Android. Adversely, there are other apps that absolutely look gorgeous on Android, a bit shit on Apple. I'd have to go through 35 to 50 apps and pick them out, you know. No. Anything from GPS, the Google Play Store, not global positioning services, not that sort of GPS, but no. Everybody knows that Google Assistant pisses. Let's just be honest. Let's talk about a massive victory for Android now. that makes iOS look foolish. I'll say it now. Google Lens, Google Assistant. Game over. Game over. Embarrassing. And then you could say, well, hang on, iMessage is better looking than Messages, you know? So, I think if a person is able to and is interested in doing so and wants to do it, use both. If it means that much to you. Now, I know that 90% of people will come back and go, I disagree with that, I can't afford it and I won't afford it. And even if I could afford it, it makes no sense to use two operating systems. I also expect that person to say, and Justin, you twat, my priority is my kid's school uniform and paying the mortgage, etc. So, the only family person, and I say this with the utmost respect, and I'm being very serious. I'm going to put the porridge down now. Done it. That was really good actually. Put a bit of honey in it. Full fat milk and honey, that's the answer. Make Quaker Scottish oats taste even better than they do with water. Just put in a bit of full fat milk and honey, just a couple of blobs, just tastes amazing. Anyway, so the only examples I can see of someone agreeing with my sentiments, my argument for using Android and iOS, is that they had the desire and the means. That, you know, if you're a professional working person and you're earning 50, 60, 100k a year, you're like, yeah, fuck it, whatever, I'll get an Android device and an iOS device, you know, because then you're, if you're not that person, then you're into the completely other sector of geeks like me that don't have any responsibilities other than that of my own shit, i.e. my own bills and, you know, my own rent and my tariffs to my supplier in you know, EE, and that's it. That's my argument. That's it. So I'm fully aware of what I'm asking. You know, it's not right of me to say, well, you know, guys, I think everyone should do what I do. You know, you should have two devices at all times. Whether you keep one at home, or you know, one's the office and one's at home, or one's in the left pocket, one's in the, you know, but I'd be very interested, I haven't done this, I'd be very interested to know what the statistics are, if there are any, what the percentage numbers are of people having a couple of phones, you know, like a works phone and a, you know, a non, you know, like a leisure one. I don't know. I'm just saying I've tried. I began with Apple like everyone else. Oh yeah, let's get Lee in. Yeah, I began with Apple like everyone else. My first mobile phone. No, that's not true. My first mobile phone was a Nokia. Of course, it was a Nokia. I think we all started on Nokias, didn't we? Did you? Good evening, sir.
How it is?
How you doing? Did you start on a Nokia? What was your first phone?
My first phone was a Motorola.
Oh,
you remember
even better.
The very first page-you-go Motorola phones that Argos were churning at left and right.
Fucking brilliant. Oh, Motorola, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And you could just strong, weren't they, as well?
Things were indestructible, yeah. So the aerial follicle used to screw on and off.
That's it, yeah.
couldn't get a signal for love nor money, but then you didn't really want a signal because it cost you an arm and a leg just to top up.
That's true. That's true. My God, I'd forgotten about that. I'd forgotten you'd do 10 quid and it would give you like a couple of phone calls, wouldn't it?
So I used to be a bit of an entrepreneur at school.
Go on.
I used to, because I was always into the computers, I actually got into computers for a lot of illegal reasons.
Really?
A lot of illegal reasons, yeah.
Do tell.
That's why I know as much as I do. And I used to get these codes and I used to sell them a £5 a week to anybody that wanted it. And these codes would give you unlimited minutes and unlimited text messages.
Very good. Very good.
And made a fortune. Absolute fortune. I'd probably generate about £200 a week.
Jesus.
As a 13-year-old, just selling these codes.
I remember those.
They would last a week and then they would die, and then I'd have to go search for new codes. I wouldn't tell anyone where I got them from because otherwise you shoot yourself in the foot, ain't you?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
My first phone, Motorola. And then I went from that to a Nokia 3210.
Right, now you're talking. Yep, yep. Oh my God.
And why did everyone go to Nokia? Snake.
What was that? What was Snake?
It's a silly little game. You just used to have this little dotted line that used to go around, and you used to have to build it up without it hitting itself.
I remember. There was a timing issue, wasn't it, as well? It was a constraint on the timing, wasn't it? You only had so long to... Oh my God. I'd forgotten that it was called Snake.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then obviously you used to have the text messaging using just your numpad.
Yeah. That was
a pain in the arm.
Wasn't it? Yeah, you'd be like A, B, C, D, E, just to get a letter.
You what though? We all got shit out of it.
We did. We did. I used to go to Metroflex and be able to text Dougie and Dave Talbot when he was alive under the table, because you get used to the counting, so I could be talking to you across that little round table at Metroflex in the front there, reception, under the table, keeping the phone down there, maintaining eye contact with you, and I could be saying, Lee, look at this wanker to your right. Do you know what I mean? So I could have a full conversation with Doug or Dave going, look at that toss-up on a dumbbell rack, look at his form, and we were doing it, like I say, you would just suss it out without having to look at it after a while. That's true.
So yeah, and then obviously you had the 3310 come out, and Nokia then went flip phone. No, you had the slide phone with Nokia first.
That was lovely, like Matrix
I think
style.
I remember with that. No, you had that one that it looked like a battery almost, and then it would just sort of slide up to reveal the numpad.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm with you. Oh, yes, I know that one. I know that one, yeah, I remember that one.
Then the flip phone come out, but about around 98, 99, the same time as the first Matrix film.
That's right.
Was it called the Nokia Blade?
I think so. Because it was a slight sort of curve, wasn't it? It was a little slight banana.
Yeah.
Hang on, let's just...
One of the Ericssons, like one of the Nokia, like Sony Ericssons or something like that that done it.
That's right. Hang on, let's try and find... Hang on. Let's go... Nokia Matrix phone.
Showing pictures that match.
Right, here we go. That dude. Going on eBay for 350 quid. Nokia 7110. Hang on. Let's get it open. No, that's not it, is it? Yes, that is it. It does slide. Hang on. Just bad pictures of it. Hang on, that's not very good pictures. It's not showing it open because it had a sliding cover.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is better pictures. Look, yeah, you could get. That's. Is that? Yeah, you've got like a black one and a yellow one, slightly banana-ish.
It's not quite the one I was thinking of,
No,
but I do remember
not.
that one.
It's not actually, because the one.
I think that looks like it's been relaunched as well because of the colour. Like you wouldn't have had that type of
No.
colour back in the night.
No way.
It would have been silver.
No, you're right. It was just black. I remember it being just simply. Here we go. Like. Now that's how I remember it. Like that. just black like that. Yeah.
Right, yeah. The screen would almost glow like a green.
That's
tint.
it. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah. Look like that. That's what I remember. That's the one I had like that. Yeah. I had that in 97, 98. Yeah.
I wouldn't have had anything quite like that, mainly because of my age.
Yeah.
But they was quite expensive. But then I would have gone from like the little like slidey phones, and then never really looked back just from smartphones really from that point.
What do you think happened to Nokia, Lee? Why didn't Nokia get onto? Because that they were in the position before Apple and before Samsung. You think our best phones in the 90s were Nokias. Why couldn't they have just,
Samsung really wasn't a thing. Apple was obviously into like more computers.
Yeah.
Whereas you think it's all Macintosh, weren't it?
Yeah. I was so surprised it was Apple that did it.
Yeah, it did come out of the blue. I mean, everyone was like sort of going, "Oh, I've just seen this phone," and everyone was going, "Ah, that ain't real."
Right, yeah. Well, Top Gear, Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah, I mean, like you would watch like the tech shows on the BBC
That's
and whatnot, and you'd go, bloody hell, like that's like proper futuristic.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought it was fake.
we'll be on Mars before that happens.
Exactly.
But,
I thought that because none of us ever thought that that's how a keypad would be. That where's the buttons? Because you had a BlackBerry or something. But I remember 2007.
I forgot about the BlackBerry, yeah.
Yeah, because for some reason, every girlfriend I remember having in the sort of early 2000s, 2005, 2006, they had a BlackBerry.
Yeah, but that was for BBM though, wasn't it?
Right. What was that? Was that the BlackBerry message? Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. What made that different? What was special? Because I never knew.
The idea of that was, I believe it was encrypted messages, so it couldn't be tracked. I believe that's what it was.
That makes sense.
And then you could use it for free without having to top up, where obviously back then everything was text message.
Right.
And you think, 10p a text message.
Yeah. Got it.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but you weren't sending an LOL, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, I remember getting a third. This is so embarrassing. This would have been 2004, the year I opened my gym in Chelmsford, and I got to admit it, I got caught out by one of those sex lines, right? Yeah, I did. There's no point in lying about it, and I started having actual flirty chats with a real person, right? And I just thought it was all cool, and like this was like really happening. What a fucking idiot! And then
you had to go down with a bill.
Yeah, it was a £1,300 bill. £1,300. This was 2004, 2005, and I had to pay it. That was with a Nokia. Yeah, I got fully suckered, mate. I just didn't understand it. I just thought, oh yeah, it's only a quid. It's only a quid, but it was literally every 30 seconds with another pound, another pound, another pound. It was just all of a sudden the phone call was 20 quid. Yeah, it got crazy, mate.
That's an addiction nobody wants. That's
isn't it? And all it was, and I never met the girl. She was in Colchester. I was in Chelmsford. Never met her. Her name was Wendy, and that's all I remember. Her name was Wendy, and I just thought we could never get married because she would be Wendy House. Yeah, that wouldn't work. Yeah, think about it. Wendy House. But I reckon her name was Wendy because, well, probably wasn't actually, but she told me her name before I told her my surname. And we just spoke for hours on the phone, very flirty and stuff. It was all very fun. But 1,300, it's £1,365, the phone bill. I'll never forget it. And I was with Orange at the time, which was then T-Mobile and then EE.
To be fair as well, they were expensive anyway. I mean, let's be fair, any mobile network back then was expensive.
It was, wasn't it? It was.
I mean, was it, O2 was
That's right.
Primarily BT Cellnet.
God, you're right, yeah. And then Vodafone, wasn't it? Vodafone was a big one.
Yeah, well, Vodafone's probably still one of the originals. Is still about, to be fair.
I reckon you're right, because that was the first. My dad was on Vodafone. My brother, I had a hard time leaving Vodafone actually, because they were the original, and I think they still might have the greatest coverage. I don't know. I'd be interested to know.
My partner's recently gone back to Vodafone,
Right.
mainly because we got a good deal with a broadband and mobile combination.
Right.
But I mean, when we first started talking, because we met online.
Did you?
Yeah. When, to be fair, I mean, online, it wasn't even online dating. I remember telling my mate about chat rooms. He was asking me loads of questions. I would normally use the internet for gaming, even back then.
Right.
And he said, "Oh, so do you go on the chat room and talk to girls?" And I was like, occasionally, but it's not really something I make an habit of.
No.
He goes, "Oh, can you tell me how it all works?" So if you want. Anyway, we'd had a few beers, we come back mine, and he's gone on there. But as soon as you log in, you're under my name.
Oh, really?
I think I was Lee 82 or something because of my birthday.
Date of birth, right? Yeah.
So anyway, he's sitting there and he's whispering everybody that resembled a female name, and one of them was Kerry.
Right.
And he would be really rude and obnoxious, and I'm going, "Mate, fuck off now." I said, "I'm not having this." I kicked him out of my ass and give him a bit of a slap for his troubles. And then I went back and I went through all the messages. I apologised to everyone. I went, "Look, I'm not the person that's been messaging and said I had a friend over, blah blah blah." Yeah, some people didn't bother responding. A lot of people telling me to fuck off.
It is hard to prove it's not you. It is hard.
Yeah, well, you can't, can you? And
No.
Kerry went, "So who are you then?" And we just started talking.
Wow. And what year was
No,
this? What year was this, Lee?
This would have been back in 2003, early 2004.
Okay.
Oh, it would have been early 2004 because she was actually online because she was meant to go out for her birthday.
Right.
She'd been booked up to Darlington.
Okay.
And long story short, she smashed up her ankle and couldn't go out with a friend and a friend's family, so she stayed in and was set up on the internet, and
You got talking.
I come along apologetic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! And that's 16, 17 years ago now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we've been together now for 17 years.
Yeah. That's brilliant. I like that. That's a really lovely, because that's a genuine. When fate rolls the dice. I know it sounds a bit corny and a bit cliched, but
It does, but you do think
Nice.
we've both said, what if she didn't sprain her ankle?
Right.
What if my mate
Right.
didn't ask to go on the PC? Because I had no intention of coming home and going on the chat room. If I went home to go on the PC, it would have been to shoot people in the face.
yeah, right. Yeah, a bit of first-person shooter. Yeah. Yeah, play a bit of Doom or something. Yeah. Oh my God.
No,
Call of
my
Duty.
poison back then would have been an Unreal Tournament. I mean, that's a story for you.
Go on.
And so the player base on that back then used to be 3.5 million. I got into the top 100 in the world on that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Back then, obviously, there weren't no e-sport or anything, but today,
That's, yeah, I was
you
going
weren't
to say,
money for that.
because you've to achieve that, like you say, without there's no boosting, there's no cheating, there's no sneaky backdoor in the algorithm, there's no buying
No.
stuff. You've genuinely got into that last 100 out of how many million again?
3.5 million players.
Whoa, that's a huge base. That's a huge database. Yeah.
I didn't have a choice. Like my mate that I used to work with,
That's impressively.
he was in the top 10, and I really did suck at this game, and I don't like losing. I'm very sore when it comes to losing,
Really?
and I do believe in winner and loser. I'm not one of them people where everyone's a winner.
Yeah,
It spurs me on to be better.
yeah, everyone. You've all won. You've all get a trophy. No, that's not how life works. It's not how life works.
And I
Wow.
think I've only ever been proud once for for coming third, and I got a bronze medal in judo.
That's a hard sport. That is a hard sport.
Yeah, I loved it. I did it for 5 or 6 years, I think.
Really?
Started quite young. But because of my height, I always put into the category a year to 2 years above my age.
So fighting grown men when you were 16, probably.
Yeah, I got this medal when I was 11, so I would have been fighting 12, 13-year-olds.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But obviously, a change in a male from 11 to 13 is huge.
Oh, yes, I was going to say. Yeah, like now when we're older, 2 years means nothing, but you're right, you're absolutely right.
Muscle alone is crazy.
Forget it. Yeah, I mean, you'll see this with your son now, won't you? You know, how old's your boy now?
My boy's 8. So you can see him slowly filling out differently to how he was, like, say, a year to 2 years ago.
Exactly.
But in the next 4 years, he's going to be a
12.
huge
Be like, yeah. Well, this is it. And I know, yeah. I mean, I know I'm not a dad, but I've been around kids enough to know that, like, say, like your little chap now at 8 can still be a kid, but once he's 12, 13, that's it. They're just a massive growth spurt. Faces changed. You know, their bodies. It's a huge shift, isn't it? Those years. Yeah. And then again, from sort of 12 to 18, you know, that's a big jump as well.
This tournament, like my sensei would say to me, look, they're going to be stronger than you, but because of your height, you've got no choice but to go down this route. I went, yeah, it's all right. And most of the time, I'd just get slapped about, and I would just look at his experience.
Yeah.
Guy was ragdolling me. Every single time I went to sweep his leg, he would just literally lift me and pull me pillar to post. And what my sensei advised me to do was to sort of use his body weight as momentum.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I did. I sort of leaned back, put my foot into like his like stomach and slash ribcage, flipped him over,
right,
and then sort of rolled back over him as well, and then got him into like a scarf hold.
Yeah.
Poked him out.
Yeah.
And that got me bronze medal.
Brilliantly. You've just described a movement there that is incredibly successful, and when it's done to a person, like as you said, you know, you can just grab a person, and your foot would go in my stomach, and then you fall backwards, and I just go like that. And I'll never forget that being done to me by a very good judo lad at Homefield School. His name was Tom Bowling, and we became firm friends because I was into Wing Chun, Kung Fu and karate and boxing and everything, you know, involving striking. And we got into a grapple, and before I knew it, I was flying through the air. He as you described it, he launched me, and this is on the school grass on the lawn. So literally 30, 40 kids saw it and was like, "Do you see House go flying?" And I just said to him, mate, how did you do that?
How did you do that?
Yeah, and we became really good friends. He's like, "Let me show you again." Just got my school blazer and flipped me, and I'll never forget, as you described it, the foot went in my stomach, he goes onto his back, and I just become like a human ragdoll cartwheel, like incredible move.
If he's able to keep hold of you, he can then obviously dictate whatever position he wants.
He lands on top, yeah. I was absolutely overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed.
He can do whatever he wants with you.
Yeah.
It's scary. One of my early attempts of losing weight, I went to a karate class. Like a friend, so a girl that I went to school with, her husband used to run this karate class.
Okay.
And I stumbled in, I'm 6'4", whatever weight, 30 plus stone.
Yeah.
And he wants to demonstrate on me all the time to show how badass he is, I suppose. And he went from karate to self-defense, and he's like, right, so you get hold of me the way you want, however you see fit. I went, all right. I get hold of him. I've not told anyone I've got any sort of like
judo experience
and anything. And he's going, right, so if I like this gets hold of you, this is what you do. And he's gone straight across my collarbone, thinking I'm going to let go.
Right.
But I don't. So he did it again and again, and he went, "Doesn't that hurt?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "So why aren't you letting go?" I went, "Because you told me to hold you." So anyway, he did it one more time, and he goes, "So what is it doing?" I went, "It's pissing me off."
Yeah.
And he's going, well, normally, class, if this happens, they do let go. And I went, but normally if you do it to someone that doesn't let go, they can do this. And I remember hip-tossing him.
Oh.
Bear in mind, he's the sensei of the class, and I've hip-tossed him, gone down, scarf-holed him, and just made him look a fool.
Yeah, because I remember watching Ronda Rousey from UFC when, because she came from an Olympic judo background, and
Oh, she was amazing.
yeah, back in 2015, 2016, she was hip tossing men my size like they were 10-year-olds. Really knocking the wind out
I
of
remember
them.
being a 10-year-old hip tossing a fella my size now.
Yeah. It just shows the technique. I love watching it on the Olympics. The Russians against the, that level. In fact, I like the original Foxcatcher. The American team and stuff, and against the Russians, and they're incredible. The judo players, proper wrestling and judo, I think is just brilliant. I really do.
Yeah, it's something I would love to get back into now. I'm healthy again. But obviously, since the lockdown, it's all been closed down anyway. But it's definitely something I'm going to look into. I've talked to my daughter about it as well, and she fancies a bit of it.
That'd be interesting because you want to try out your body now, don't you? I would imagine.
Yeah, most certainly.
Yeah.
But although I'm approaching 40,
right.
My way my body is the healthiest it's ever been as an adult. So it's like, when I say test it, I don't want to be ridiculous with it, but I want to enjoy it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And there's loads of things I want to do. I want to do like like the mud races where you get all the obstacle courses. I want to do things like that.
Yeah, tough mud and all that. Yeah.
There's a couple hikes that I want to do. I'm actually toying with the idea of doing like a sponsored hikes.
Nice.
To try and get some money for my surgery, like skin surgery.
Okay. Yeah. That would be
whether
nice.
it pans out or not, I'm not sure, but it's something that I would like to even just dabble in just to see what the response is like. But if I'll just have the life experience of it.
Yeah. That'd be cool. That would be really nice, mate. It's
Loads of things I want to do now. Loads of things, and every single thing is living.
It is. I was thinking about this. I was giving it some thought the other night when you mentioned it. This is to take away stretch marks, isn't it? And loose skin. Is that what we're talking about?
So there's, as I say, there's a lot of pictures I'm willing to show. I mean, bloody hell, there's pictures of me at 35 stone in boxers, and there's pictures of me at 15 stone in boxers.
Right.
But there's a lot of pictures I won't show.
Fair enough.
I'll quite happily share them privately, but in terms of for the world to see, I'm not ready.
No.
I might not ever be ready.
No, that's completely your discretion. I respect that.
I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of getting used to how my body lays now.
Right.
I'm still adapting, because I've been massive for nigh on 2 decades.
Yeah.
And for the last, not even 2 years, for the last 18 months, I've been of a healthy weight. Probably not even 18 months, in all fairness.
True. You haven't had a chance to readjust and recalibrate yet, have you?
Yeah. And, I mean, even, the last, I think it's 7 weeks now I've been with, training with Dougie. Even that transformation in them 7 weeks, crazy change.
Wow.
So it's just I'm never getting that sort of adjustment time,
No. And having done it, because you do the training and you do the eating, the nutrition application, you're so diligent at the way you apply it. Because, there's always, I've had clients that have been frankly lying to me, the woman I mentioned the other night, Susanna, who was really big at Fitness First, she used to claim she was having turkey and broccoli, and I was like, but you're not, because you haven't lost 2 pounds, and if you were having water and turkey and broccoli, you'd be, no, you're having pizza, aren't you? And of course she broke down crying and admitted it. I'm not saying all people are like that, but you have proven to yourself and to your friends and family and everyone else that you had to have done it, because you could not have done it if you'd been cheating. It's that simple. It is that simple. The evidence is the way you look and the weight you've lost. You had to have done it because you have.
That truth is, people can eat what they want.
Oh shit, the sound's gone. Hang on, the sound's gone. Oh, that's better. Sorry, the sound went then. Go on.
Yeah, so for me, where people mess up the most is portion control. Because you can have a balanced diet and eat what you want.
Yes.
So if you want that pizza, don't eat a whole pizza. Have a slice of pizza.
Right.
Make sure it has a decent amount of protein on there. Make sure it has a decent amount of like vegetables.
Yeah.
And look at the bread as your carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Don't go, I'm having a pizza for my dinner and then eat the whole bloody thing.
It's a good point.
It don't work.
It's a good point.
No? Like, so today for my dinner, for example, I had a burger. I had turkey diet burger.
Nice.
With the bun and some coleslaw.
Right, yeah.
You know? You saw more plate than you saw food.
Yeah, I was going to say, burger, bun and a bit of coleslaw. Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
You don't need any more than that. And that ain't just for me, that's for anybody.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
We spend too much time going, and this will be people trying to lose weight, stressing about every single calorie, and then as soon as the wheels fall off, they'll go, I'm going to eat everything inside that. What was the point in counting calories yesterday?
Crazy. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, that meal you just described there, a couple of, tablespoons or whatever of coleslaw, burger with a bun, once you factor in if that burger's got a bit of cheese and a bit of ketchup in it, like it should do, you're there. You're there. That's your meal,
Well, it's not like I'm going on stage, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I've learned that, because it never, you should never take it for granted, because, okay, when I was 18, 19, I'd be like, I wanted a burger or two and a load of fries, and some dessert, whereas, I mean, the other week when I got paid, I went out and got some lovely burgers from Marks and Spencer's and a couple of, lovely sort of thick slab cheese to go on it in a bun, and I love coleslaw, and I did that exact meal that you just said there: burger, bun, coleslaw, and I was, like I say, it was just sat in the middle of the plate, there was it with the blob of coleslaw, and I was like, that's it, there's no fries, there's no extras, that's me, and I was completely satisfied. But as you say, more plate than burger, and it's, the minute you said that, I thought, that's what I had the other week, and it really works, and you don't need any more.
And the thing is, you enjoy it because afterwards you can still move about.
Yes, exactly, yes. Rather than sitting there force feeding it with the chips because they're on the plate and you feel obliged to eat it. Portion
we're just
control's big.
Carbohydrates, you know what I mean? We really are. And as you said earlier, it's like, have your carbs, but sensible. It's like bread is something I do try and stay away from. Bread used to be my nemesis.
Right. It's so easy to eat though, isn't it? It's so easy to eat bread.
Yeah, and you know what? I was a convenient eater.
Right.
It had to be quick and it had to be convenient. Didn't have to taste of a lot, as long as it was quick and convenient.
Those are the words, right. Quick and convenient. It's true.
So, I want to get on to the point of back to the phones again, because that's why I joined live today.
Go on.
Yeah, so you're saying 90% of people wouldn't agree with what you were saying about having the two phones thing.
Yeah.
And you started off by saying about, Apple versus Google.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, you've spoken me via text about my argument against Apple.
Yeah.
And I've got a question for you.
Go on.
Is the love for Apple more of a cosmetic thing than a technical?
Very true. It's a brand thing and it's a cosmetic thing, because, do you know, Lee, if you blindfolded me, right, because let's face it, Apple is prestige. Apple is like having, it's like when people have the AirPods and stuff, it's almost like a social thing, isn't it, as well? Because in terms of the phones that give me the most joy, the phones that technically give me the most choice, the most flexibility, maneuverability, invention, imagination, joy, and frankly, the best screens. Because, you know, if you ask me the one thing about mobile phones that excites me more than anything else, more than the camera, more than gigs and RAM and this and that, it's the display, it's the screen, it's just having a beautiful display. So Androids piss on Apple. They piss on Apple. So yeah, if it wasn't the Apple prestige, if it wasn't the Apple reputation, I would be Android and nothing else. In fact, I'd have just 3 Androids. I'd have lots of Androids and no Apple at all. Because Apple is an ego thing, it's a brand thing, yes, they are very high quality and very expensive.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Do you feel that it's more to do with, like, say, a generation that you were sort of, like, say, your heyday, yeah? So you talk about the 90s, very, very, what's the word I'm looking for?
A lot of fondness.
That was your golden age.
It was my golden age. It was.
So let's go like a stereotypical 90s person, whether it's male or female. Yeah. Shoes, for example, generally would be like your Reebok Classics.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Reebok Classics is Apple.
Good point.
Almost.
Good point.
I've not ever been one of them people that followed a fashion or went anything like that. The reason why I've got the phone I've got now, right, the Pixel, I want it to do what it says on the tin. I don't care what it looks like. I'm very fortunate that it looks very stylish and it's very clean.
Yeah, very clean phone.
It doesn't matter to me. That side of it doesn't matter to me.
Right. Hold that thought. I've got 10 seconds and I'm going to come back on again because it's doing that bloody timeout thing again. I've got 5 seconds, don't go, and I'll come straight back on and we will continue this. All right. Okay, now share. Here we go. So, TrueHouse. Come on, Justin, concentrate now. TrueHouse 370. Part 2. Okay, posting that, and get rid of that, and do that, and we're going to go back. And we're back live. We're back live in studio. Yes, we are back. It is I shall wait for my friend Lee to come back on the screen. Here he is. Let's get Lee back in. Here he is. There you are, there you go. All right, that was a pretty quick one. Yes, no, you're absolutely right. The Pixel, as you say, it does everything that it says it does. In fact, it does everything it says it does and more.
Yeah, every single update is offering so much more than what the phone is. I mean, I'm not into following the updates how you are.
Yeah.
But I recall like a news thing coming through the other day, and long story short, it was basically saying that the Google Pixel 5 is now going to be doing a few other things.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, really? Like, we're talking Pixel fixes in like literally months.
Yeah.
Do update it.
I know.
New features.
This is, I mean, the Pixel 5 is, seriously, I'll say it now, I do regret selling it. I mean, I love my OnePlus 9 Pro because it has got a lovely screen, it's really good. But if I could wave a magic wand and have my Pixel 5 back, I would, because, I mean, although obviously come September, as soon as the Pixel 6 Pro goes, I'll be all over it. But your Pixel 5, compared to the Pixel 5 that I bought in September at launch, yours is, I mean, according to the most critical people, it's 40% better. 40%! that's nearly half as good again. So it just shows the power of Pixel software, that you can release a phone and then 6 months later it's better than it ever was by 40%. That's massive. I'd be happy with 10%, but no, 40. They reckon the photographs, apparently now with your Pixel, if you want to go and search dog or elephant or microphone or baseball cap, just what that camera Google Lens gives back to you now crushes Apple, crushes them.
Yeah. Google Lens isn't something I use often, but every single time I've used it, it blows my mind on how it works.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely amazing.
Just got to hold it over something and it just gives you the entire universe. No other phone company does that.
I've got a custom cupboard that me and my dad built last year.
Okay.
Might been the year before that, actually. No, what's the year before that? Bloody hell, time's gone too fast.
Has, isn't it? Has.
But if I put Google Lens on it, it'll pick up all the different colours that we've used on it.
Right.
And it'll pick up the fact that it's sideboard / cupboard.
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
You know?
It's so
and then it'll
clever.
start comparing it to what other things look like.
Yeah. I'm actually kicking myself. I can't lie to you, Lee. I'm kicking myself because the truth is I wanted my Pixel 5 to have more screen, and you know, this is why I've gone for Samsungs and OnePluses and Huawei's, because you do get this big glorious screen. And it's no secret, Samsung make the screens for everybody, you know, for Google, for Apple, for Huawei, for OnePlus, they're all Samsung screens. And I wanted my 6-inch Pixel 5 to be 6.5 inches, and of course the 6 and the 6 Pro coming in a couple of months are going to be a 6.5 and a 6.7 inch screen, so happy days. But I just know the phone you've got, and I know that if you take a photo of your face or your Kerry or your kids or whatever, just that basic raw photo is more honest in terms of real photography than any other manufacturer. It still beats just the basic photo without any filters, without any edits. You know, there's your face like real life, you know?
Again, picture that I took of the full moonlight.
The full moon, the night sky, yeah. Better than anything.
Literally, it was almost like being a cowboy, pulling the guns from like the holster and just shooting.
Yeah.
I didn't do nothing fancy with it.
Just click and that's it. Yeah, this is the thing. They've done so much more with software. I mean, I'm actually, when I say I'm frightened, I'm not frightened, but what I mean by that is, I watched their presentation last week, you know, and it was Sundar Pichai, their CEO, you know, and it was Google out in the open, you know, sat in the garden at the Google HQ, and they were explaining their collaboration with Samsung, and how that we're going to see a new Google Watch, and obviously basically this new 6 and the 6 Pro will be the best phone they've ever made by some significant margin, and if those renders are to be believed, it does look extremely good. And I will be ordering that phone on launch night. I will. I mean, I don't care if I don't eat that month. I'm fucking doing that phone, because I've missed it. I've missed the Pixel 5, and there's something they do. I'll be honest. They make Apple look shit. They make Apple look shit. They really do. Yes. Apple do a nice photo and good video, and Apple are very clean, and Apple are very proper and very smart, and I get it. I get the Apple ecosystem, and it's all, like you say, it's almost like a class thing. It's almost like, you know, it's being posh for the sake of it, but they're not practical.
Well, you said something that really got my back up earlier on about Apple.
Go on.
When you said that you pay £70 a year, you can get the beta.
I know.
It's
£75 a year.
It's a privilege for Apple to have people like yourself that want beta testers. And you're paying for that privilege. I think it's an absolute liberty.
It is, on top of everything else. Like a sucker.
Yeah.
Like a sucker. Just so I can get iOS 15 before the public does. Woo! It's bullshit, mate. And they know it. They know that suckers like me are going to pay 70. It's now £79 a year, so that's 80 quid now. Yeah, yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah, and I've got to request it. I've got to request it and go through the forms and fill out like I've got to kiss their feet. It is a liberty, and because I'm such a sucker and I like the idea of having iOS, before the public one gets released, and it's like, why are you doing that, Just? Why are you doing that? It's so stupid.
Well, see, I'm into the PCs more than I'm phones, as you know, yeah?
Yeah.
But I can get betas and sometimes even alphas on whether it's software for certain parts of hardware or even for the actual Microsoft operating system itself.
Wow.
Yeah? You don't pay for it.
No.
But everything that's running on your computer gets sent straight back to them.
Really?
If there's an error, they get to know about it and they can then chase it back and go, right, so this is because of the update. So we can then fix that before it's released to the public. And that's exactly what it should be. Not, we've got another way of scamming another 80 quid out of every single user.
Exactly. I mean, tell you what, because there's so much of this is about the social thing. Like one of the worst traps that people fall into is, because I see a lot of teenage sort of TikTokers and Instagrammers, they have to be seen wearing Apple AirPods and Apple AirPods Pro, which are £250. Now,
they're
ridiculous. They're ridiculous. Now, I've got a pair that stay in my kitchen drawer, by the way, and I actually got them as an extra through EE, and it came onto my bill at £9.99 a month. And I've paid them off now, so I just couldn't get my head round paying $250, and this was the year before last. So I thought, okay, £10 a month, well, fuck it, and I ended up doing it. But I just saved £17 in my phone bill, so I sort of weighed it up and thought, okay, you're £17 better in your phone bill, now you're paying £10, so you're still saving 7 quid. So I sort of justified it in my head. But I've hardly ever used them. And guess what I use? I use my Pixel Buds. Because they're better anyway. Because they do all the Google Assistant,
It is mad though. How long was you paying that off for?
It was a 12-month deal. 12 months at 10. So I paid 120 in the end, and they retail at 250. But it was part of the tariff of me going to upgrade anytime, what they call their smart plan with their benefits. But it's a 2-year contract, so they had me. But I had to have an Apple product because that was part of the deal. You get the iPhone, you get the AirPods Pro, but you're on a 2-year contract. And I was like, where do I sign? It got me.
I mean,
terrible.
The way obviously people work is, especially the world that I'm from, I would look at something and go, how can I modify it to look like X, or how can I get it to do what that does?
Yeah.
I do it with computers especially because it's easier to do with computers, because the computer is called a PC for a reason, personal computer, so it's personalised for your computer.
Yeah.
And people do that with phones as well. So, I mean, obviously, you grew up in the 80s, you know what a Game Boy is.
Yeah. Nintendos and Game Boys and all that, yeah.
Yeah. So, we can turn our phones into Game Boys. There's things out there to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah? And that is with any brand of phone. So, why couldn't you skin a Android phone so it looks like an Apple?
Yeah, you could. You really could. And I actually think, and I reckon you'll agree, most Androids are better looking anyway, because they haven't got that damn notch at the top. I mean, the symmetrical screen, the beautiful symmetrical screen on your Pixel 5 is way better looking than an iPhone, because you've got a tiny little punch out, your bezels are uniformed. I'm sorry, that's a better looking phone than an iPhone. It is. It objectively is a cleaner looking phone. Your Pixel with basic, that Pixel software, the Pixel launcher, or I use Nova Launcher as well. It's a really nice setup. It really is very good. I'm angry with myself because my brother left Apple completely. he's quit Apple, and he started on iPhones before I did. I got an iPhone because my brother had the iPhone 4, the iPhone 5, and I came on board. My first iPhone was an iPhone 6, the one that snapped, the one that kept bending. Yeah, I went to the cinema at Bluewater, sat on it, and I fucking folded it in half. So that was my first iPhone, the aluminium iPhone 6, Bendgate. But stupidly. Say again.
My last iPhone was a 5.
It was a 5, which is a lovely looking. That's why they've made the 12 Pro Max I'm talking to you on. No, it's on this one actually. They've made it look like the iPhone 5 with the square sides again. But it's so cosmetic. It's, as you say, the Pixel does what it said on the tin. The Pixel is the best photography. It's the best software. It's the best updates. You know, I mean, arguably, your £500, £600 Pixel 5 now as a 40% better performing phone than the Pixel 5 I had. That's going to be good for the next year or two. It's really.
To be fair,
you know,
the price I picked it up for, it told in its value because I got it in sale. Brand new.
Yeah, you've done well there. Did you get a black or white one? Which one did you get?
Went with the black.
Oh no, yeah, black or green, wasn't it this year? Black or green, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I had the black one too. And it's a nice back, isn't it? Because it doesn't smudge. It's that nice, sort of like a rough, smooth, matte background.
Not that you ever see the back, always got the tape on it, but yeah.
Yeah. I've got to get more into computers because I was looking at Razer PCs the other day online. Because do you know what I don't? Are they good? Are you a Razer man, aren't you?
I'm a Razer product in terms of like your peripherals, like headsets, mouse, keyboard.
Right.
But my PC I built myself.
See, I don't even understand that. How do you do that? What does that mean? When people say I built my own computer, what? See, this is where I my knowledge goes to shit. How? What?
You don't.
So what do you buy?
A PC is like a giant jigsaw puzzle.
Right.
So you'd have obviously like your case to put your organs in.
Right.
You'll have a motherboard.
Right.
Off of the motherboard, you have your graphics card.
Okay. Yes.
You have your processor.
Yeah. So CPU and GPU.
Yeah. Then you'll have like somewhere for the power to plug into on the motherboard.
Right.
You'll have things called SATA connection for your hard drives, and not that you use them anymore, but you have like that for your DVD / Blu-ray drive as well. But we don't generally use them anymore.
Okay.
What else am I missing? Memory go into the motherboard as well, like your RAM.
Right. Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I don't think I'm missing anything else. But yeah, that'll be literally the basis of a PC.
That'll be the guts of it. And what about the physical screen, Lee? Where do you go? What would you lean towards? You know, who would make the best monitor for it, the best screen for it? Where do you start with that sort of thing?
So at the moment, I run like a 2-screen like combination.
Nice.
I've got, for my gaming, I'll have like a 4K monitor, which is from a company called BenQ.
Right. Because you sent me a lovely photo of these 2 screens you had. It looks amazing. I was like, wow. It's like a pro studio or something, you know? It just blew me away. I was like, how do you do that?
So when we moved into the house, there was a really nice space at the far end of one of the rooms. And I said to my dad, I'm going to get like a kitchen work surface up here. I'm going to have it as a desk.
Nice.
So I've got my computer set up there, and then the other side of it, I've got my daughter's computer set up.
Oh, really?
So anytime like you ever need anything, I can just roll over and help her out a bit, you know?
Yeah.
But I reckon if I was to sort of angle my monitor slightly different, I reckon I can get a third up there as well and have a set up for me boy.
Nice. And they're obviously understanding it. They're obviously into it because they're seeing what Dad's doing, aren't they? So.
Yeah, they get a bit nervous when they start taking them apart and stripping them down.
Right. Yeah. It's very interesting.
But I got into it because of my dad.
Really?
Like my dad's like always been into like the technical side of it as well.
That's interesting.
I remember watching him as a kid, like pirate games.
Yeah.
I was a really young kid, like 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
Then I got into that myself. And then I remember when he got into PC, and he had a friend of a friend come round, and the first thing he done was take it apart. And my dad's going, "You better know how to fucking put that back together again, or I'm going to slap you." And he's going, "You don't need this, you don't need that," and he's ripping bits out of it.
Shit, really? Wow.
11 years old, I got my first PC with a black and white monitor.
Really?
Yeah. And I was learning like MS-DOS.
What's that?
So this was the old operating system before Windows.
Okay. Okay.
It'd be all like text-based.
Right. Okay. Okay.
There'd be like a black screen and literally the text box.
Right. And it was called MS?
MS-DOS.
MS-DOS. Okay. MS-DOS. Okay. Wow.
You used to have Windows, so that would be like secondary. There'd be like Windows 3.1. You would use it for like if you wanted to spin up things like Encarta or things like that, but it wasn't very recognised.
Okay. Okay.
And then when Windows 95 came out, that's when everything changed and it killed MS-DOS off.
And Windows, that's Microsoft, isn't it? No. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. See, I'm realising that, look, when I do this, I'm gonna want to consult you as a friend and as a person I'm going to ask you to guide me, because do you know what I think would be the worst thing I can do? The worst thing I can do is to do what I've done with iPhones, which is to go to, Apple HQ and just go, "Oh, I need a MacBook Pro at £1,500, please." That I literally won't understand. I'm not a professional artist. I'm not a, I don't need it.
And the going thing, if you was to go and spend that type of money on it,
yeah,
it'll be like the phones. It'll only be alright for a couple of years.
Right. Yeah. It won't even be all that, will it?
And that type of money, you can get a serious bit of hardware that will last you for whatever you want to do. Like,
exactly.
So like, for like this type of thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like the PC you could get, brilliant.
Really.
So I've been setting up my stream for my gaming that I want to do.
Yeah.
And the things I learned over the last day, Justin, you would love. I was actually thinking about you the other day. So you can do it, so you can change all the scenes and that on your computer using your phone. You can still interact with the phone.
Really?
Yeah. It's shit up. Like, so I've got the stream all set up. I kind of was testing with it the other day, but I'll have to chuck it on to you tomorrow so you can have a look, see what I've done with it.
Yeah.
But it's really, really good.
Oh, I'm actually quite surprised that I've gone so mental over phones, because if we're talking about screens, there's more screen on the computer,
Yeah.
There's more screen. Even the biggest phone is only 6.9 inches, and I don't know. I'm having this, I'm 5 years into it now, this love affair with, it's been since 2015. But with each passing year, I'm starting to really question this Apple thing. I'm really especially now with, I don't even use iMessage. I use WhatsApp. I use Signal. I use
all the third-party programs.
Yeah, I don't even.
You can get on everything.
Yeah, and all my iTunes and my Spotify live on my Android phones. So you can still have an iTunes account with your Spotify account on your Android phone. And every bit of software I use, it uses Google, and they have the better camera. And Google Lens, and Google Assistant, and in the software department, Google are crushing Apple. Gmail, GPS, Google Maps, Google Earth, Google Calendar, etc., etc. And like
Google
I say,
Drive.
Say again.
Google Drive.
Exactly, right? Google Pay, everything I can. Literally. Do you know what? The more I think about it, the only aspect of the Apple system that I can think of is, wow. Well, this sort of thing, the video is good for doing, it's a good quality video. But something? That the big talk this year is that Pixel, on the Pixel 6, the big rumour is they're going to finally get, because everybody knows how amazing Google are with taking photos. You know, hands down, it's the best actual photography because it's real. The talk this year is that Google are going to finally make their video, you know, as good if not better than Apple. And if they do that, and I suspect they will, and I love the look of this 6 Pro, and it's a bigger phone, I might drop Apple altogether. Because my brother has, and I just thought, you know, when I saw my brother the other day, and he's now a year on, and I showed him, and he said, oh, let me look at your iPhone 12 Pro Max. He looked at it and went, that fucking notch. And that was it. He just handed it back, and I was like, yeah, that ugly notch, you know? And he said, that's a £1,300 phone, you've got that bloody great notch on it. And I went, yeah, shit. It's true.
Thing is, though, if you ever get into the realms of PCs, you would never use the phone to do this type of thing.
No, this is it. I wouldn't, would I? I wouldn't.
I mean, you may for Instagram, but there's means and ways around it, so you can use your PC for Instagram.
The
So
biggest
there's
thing
a program called Blue Box, I think it's called Blue Box.
Right.
Or Blue Bricks, sorry.
Yeah.
And what that does, it tricks your computer to think it's a phone.
That's amazing. I mean,
And then all of a sudden, you can then go to like your Google Play Store, download all your apps.
wow.
And then,
Do you know?
and then that's it. You use the camera that you've bought for your computer, and then off you go.
It's just I'm really thinking that come September, October, when this happens, because let's face it, the new iPhone comes out on the 8th of September. They'll release it on the 17th. At which point, like the following month, the Pixel comes out. You know, I could actually say to EE, drop the iPhone, drop your fucking iPhone, send it back, get off that contract, you know, be an Android guy, and actually put the money into a computer. You know, go out there and discuss it with you, and actually, because do you know, like, you know why I'm always doing this sort of thing? You know, I'm showing other screens and doing this, and you know, picking up other, you know, and I'm always saying, oh, look at this bit of footage, you know, doing that. Why? Because every live stream, if you go on YouTube and look at your top 100 live streamers, just talking face like this, they're doing screen shares. They're embedded video, so it would be a live chat, and I would say, look at this piece of footage, and you know it would appear in your screen. I don't know how to do that. They must be using a computer to do mirroring, screen sharing, rather than me going, oh look, you know. It's just, and
The setup that I've got,
that's the biggest thing I want to
I
do.
can also use on YouTube, right?
Right.
So the way I've done it, I've made a virtual green screen. So I don't have to use the real green
I haven't
screen.
got to use all this shit. Yeah.
Right? I've not mastered it yet, but it looks good. I just look like a floating head at the moment,
Right.
in terms of like everything else. But it's mainly just so like people can walk behind me without feeling like, oh my god, I'm on camera.
Right. Yeah.
I've done it so I can click one button and I can show you the game I'm playing and still be on screen.
Right. This is it. You see.
I've done it so I click another button and I can show you something on a web page.
That's exactly what I want to do. It's exactly what I want to do. That makes for a better live stream.
And you can do all that with the power of your phone.
Yeah.
So you're still using the phone, but you're using the PC as the processing.
Yeah. And even here, case in point, right now in this very conversation, I'm looking here. I'm gonna take it off. The Apple has just given up the ghost. Look, the battery is going, right? So there you go. The battery is running low on the Apple. Yet on this one here, the Samsung, I've still got 50% battery. So even their batteries are too small. You know, it's like, and they were both at 100%. I've seen the renders for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Guess what? It looks like the 12 Pro Max, which looks like the 11 Pro Max, which was the same as the 10 Pro Max. It's like, I mean, basic Apple design hasn't changed since the iPhone 6. It's the same shaped phone. At least with Pixel, hey, at least Pixel are trying a new shape. you think your Pixel, the Pixel 2 and 3, and now your Pixel 5, they're going for a complete overhaul. This new one's changing the camera, it's changing the screen, it's changing, it's being brave, man, and I'm starting to get the arse of Apple. I really am. Like you say, that £79. Yeah, I can see why. Today when I did that iOS 15, I thought, Justin, you prick. Because I paid the £79 last year, fine, but I got it for 70, but now it's 79, so it'll probably go up next year as well, because they know that suckers like me are going to go, oh, I got iOS 15 a month before you lot. It doesn't mean a fucking thing. It's still glitchy. It's still got bugs. It's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks.
And it always means a way as well where you can go look at it and go, I'm paying this much a month or this much every single time a phone comes out, and go, Jesus, I could have done this or this.
Right, yeah. Androids are cheaper and they've got better screens, I'm not being funny. How slow have Apple been with things like dark mode, with things like picture in picture, with things like 120 hertz screen refresh rate? Actually, Google were the first company to offer 90 hertz refresh screen rate, so that you got a faster screen rate. Just again, Apple are always a couple of years behind, on everything.
Apple started off as the pioneer.
Yeah, they did. They really did.
And shortly followed by a few other companies. Some aren't with us anymore.
Yeah.
And there's a few others that have just taken the reins and gone, sit down, old timer, I've got it.
Exactly.
And what they do is, they then see what they release, and a year later on, they'll start nicking bits from what their sponsors have done, and they're relying on the founder.
Yeah, this is it. People get really uptight about it. I've had people attack me on Twitter because I've dared to say I like Apple, Android, I like them both, or guess what, and I've purposely tweeted something and it says tweeted from my Android, or tweeted from, or tweet sent from my Apple phone, and people are like, oh, you're a disgrace to Android, you're a disgrace to... I'm like, fuck off. I can use both or neither. But I'm at the point now where if push comes to shove, I'm going to lean towards Android, specifically Pixel. I've got a genuine love for Pixel products, for Google products. I love their design. I love the simplicity. I love just the way you can talk to your Pixel 5, the way you can talk to that AI. If you said, book me some cinema tickets, or I want to go to a restaurant, or I want to book a taxi, or what time is the football match tonight, or the boxing match, it's so much quicker than Siri. It's so much better, the algorithm. Their software is way better.
The understanding of language as well is a lot more clearer.
It is, yeah. Your live transcribe is way better. It's light years ahead. As you say, it understands your words, doesn't it, when you're talking to it? Yeah. It's
the screen size has never bothered me, and being a fella, especially when I was overweight as well, you just thought that it would on. Because obviously, you put weight on everywhere. So tapping away on the screen that's, like you say, 6 inches, it's still a bit of a hindrance.
Yeah.
I press the little microphone button that's on the keyboard, and then it dictates for me straight off the bat. I don't have to install a third-party program, it's already there.
Exactly. See, if I was going to write a book, Lee, I'd use that software, wouldn't I? I'd use Live Transcribe. Just talk the book, and save it. Jesus, I didn't think of that. Fuck. Because I'm actually worried, because I know that I've got easily a 500-page book in me. I do. I don't want to come out of this lockdown with regret. And I'm frightened that if I don't pull my finger out and start writing this book now, I'll be talking to you in a year's time. I'll be back at work and it'll all be normal again. And I'll be like, shit, I could have written that book in lockdown. Now would be the...
Although you might not have a book, you to look back over the last course of lockdown and go, what have I achieved? You've achieved a hell of a lot. I mean,
Thanks, man.
I don't know how I would have coped being in your situation where you literally are isolated away from everyone. I mean, you have you for company.
Yeah, it's only me. And that's why I think I've been so into the phones, because I don't mind admitting to you, when I'm in my bedroom or on the toilet or shaving my face or at the kitchen sink, I always have a phone or two going just for company. It will be a podcast, a live stream, music. I literally use these phones as little humans. It's a bit sad, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Is it sad or is it just my life? Because I'm not being funny. I've got a busy household and I do that now.
Right. They do keep me going. Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, like literally after this, I mean, what is it now? It's now, what is the time? 10:47. I mean, I will go in the kitchen. I'm gonna have a cup of tea. I will watch, a film, Netflix or whatever, or YouTube, and some bloody debate or something, and then I'll go to bed and fall asleep to a movie. And then in the morning, when I'm shaving my face, brushing my teeth, sat on the loo, having a shower, I've got something going again, and it's constant. And if I go for a walk or go to the gym or go to the shops, again, it's literally companionship, and I've got to admit that it's true. They've got me through this period. They really have. And it's given me something to look forward to. Like I'm getting excited now. I'm actually getting excited for, like, each day I check the news. I check the Google News for news about the Pixel 6 Pro, because it's literally 16 weeks away. I'm like, come on, it's great. And I'll unbox it live. I will, and I'll cream myself on camera.
I remember last time you done the Pixel unboxing. I got quite excited myself about that.
I went mad, didn't I?
I didn't know what I was getting so excited about though. Like, I was just curious. I've always been curious about the Google phones.
Yeah.
And I don't know, since I watched your unboxing of it, I was like, I'm gonna get one of them one day.
I was so glad when you got it. I was so glad that you decided to do it, because when you realise how wonderful Pixel phones really are, and then you said, I like a bit of that, and then you went off and did it, I was like, yes, he's done it. I got really, really chuffed that you did it, and like, I'm actually, I love the OnePlus 9 Pro. It's a lovely Android, but there's something about that Pixel software that's just, it's just lovely, and I miss it. Especially now that the Pixel you've got is 40% better. It's a huge improvement.
If you was to get rid of the phone, like, so say someone went, right, give up one of your phones and we'll give you a Pixel, would you do it?
Yeah, I would, yeah. I'd let the 9 Pro go now, I would. Even for the next 2 or 3 months, which is ridiculous, because, arguably the OnePlus 9 Pro, it's got a lovely big screen, and the camera's good. The camera